to the April 2nd City of Oshkosh Plan Commission meeting. We're glad you could join us. Like I said, we have a quorum. A few housekeeping items to go over before we begin. Please turn off and silence all personal communication devices. The applicant and members of the public may speak to any item before the Plan Commission when the relevant item to which you wish to speak is called and the public comment is open. Unless an exception is made by the Plan Commission, the following rules will apply. The applicant is given up to 10 minutes to present any information they wish the Plan Commission to consider. Thereafter, members of the public will be given 5 minutes to address the specific item before the Plan Commission for consideration. Members of the public may speak only once per called agenda item unless the Plan Commission member requires clarification or wishes to ask a question. Questions or statements from the audience will not be considered. Only statements from the podium after your stated name and address are within the allowed time constraints are taken into consideration. After all committee members have had the opportunity to speak on the called agenda item, the applicant will be asked if they have a final statement for the Plan Commission, and then the Commission may take action on the agenda item. The Common Council has adopted rules of decorum for city boards and commissions, including the adoption of a civility pledge. No person shall personally attack a board member or commission member, city official or staff, or any other person. No person shall make irrelevant, unduly repetitious, offensive, threatening, slanderous, defamatory, or obscene remarks, or act in such a manner to disrupt or disturb the orderly conduct of the meeting, including hand clapping, stomping of the feet, whistling, shouting, or other demonstrations. With that, thank you all for your understanding, and now on to the agenda. Can we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Davy, Councilmember Esslinger.
Here.
Mr. Ulrich.
Here.
Ms. Propp.
Here.
Ms. Sharman.
Here.
Mr. Lowenstein. Mr. Nichols.
Here.
Mr. Bowen. Mr. Kulabali. Vice Chair Kiefer.
Here.
And Chairman Perry. 6 board members present.
Okay. First item is approval of the March 19th, 2024 minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, we can have a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. The minutes have passed. On to item number 1. Item number 1 is grant underground electric and communication easement at the northwest corner of Clearview Road and State Highway 91 to Wisconsin Power and Light Company. The City of Oshkosh is the owner and the applicant. Has there been any site inspections? Okay, staff report is accepted as part of the record. Please report your summary.
Thank you. So the subject area is on 3 separate parcels owned by the City of Oshkosh. The property is located in the Southwest Industrial Park and is envisioned to be sold and developed with industrial uses. Wisconsin Power and Light Company is requesting the easement to expand its electric and communication facilities. This easement will allow Wisconsin Power and Light Company to access the property, install underground electric and communication lines, and maintain or replace its facilities as needed. And the City Attorney's Office is coordinating with Public Works and Community Development Departments, and Wisconsin Power and Light Company has prepared a draft of the easement documents. So again, it's running along this property line through these 3 parcels. Here's the proposed easement document. And staff recommends approval of the granting of the proposed electric and communication easement.
Okay. Plan Commission, any technical questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to open public comments. Are there members of the public that would like to make a statement? If so, approach the podium and state your name and address for the records, please. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'm closing public comment period. Commission, the action is upon you.
Motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Again, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Esslinger.
Aye.
Mr. Ulrich.
Aye.
Ms. Propp.
Aye.
Ms. Sharman.
Aye.
Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer?
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, item number 2 is a public hearing, Valley Christian School annexation from the town of Oshkosh, east side of the 3100 to 3200 blocks of Vinland Street. This involves 3 parcels. Wisconsin Independent Christian Schools Incorporated in the city of Oshkosh are the owners and applicants. Have there been any site inspections? Okay, staff report is accepted as part of the record, and please report your summary.
Thank you. The owners are requesting approval of an annexation of 3 lots totaling approximately 36.8 acres. The site is located on the east side of Vinland Street, approximately a half mile south of West Snell Road. The site is predominantly vacant and being farmed except for the city-owned lot, which is Lot 1, running between Lot 1 and Lot 2. The property has a town of Oshkosh zoning designation of general farming districts and light industrial districts. The property will be annexed with zoning designation of institutional district with plan development overlay, and that is consistent with the comprehensive plan's mixed use land use recommendation. So here's a view of the subject site. It is planned that Lot 1 will be developed as the new Valley Christian High School, and the development will require base standard modifications, which is the reason the plan development overlay is being added to the institutional zone designation. Outlet 1, which is owned by the city, is part of a planned extension for West Fernell Avenue connecting east to Jackson Street. The Department of Public Works has reviewed the request and reported that city sanitary sewer and water main are available along Vinland Street. Here's the annexation exhibit. And staff recommends approval of the Valley Christian School annexation with zonings of institutional district with plan development overlay.
Thank you. Plan Commission, any technical questions for staff? Sharon?
I just got out of my, on the first sentence on the action requested, I'm sorry, I lost it on my iPad. It talks about by unanimous consent.
So the unanimous approval is
Or, yeah.
of the owners of the property, so Valley Christian and the city are the 2 owners.
Okay.
So both property owners, that's what the unanimous approval means.
Okay.
All property owners involved are
Okay.
asking to be annexed.
I was thinking like we have to have unanimous consent. I didn't understand. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Ms. Prop?
Lot 2 is owned by Valley Christian, and that's not going to be part of the school.
It is anticipated right now that there will be some stormwater needs as part of the development and the road development. The city may actually end up purchasing a portion of Lot 2 for stormwater management for the new road that's going in, but largely it's looking like that will be stormwater management for Lot 2.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Nichols?
For the street to be extended all the way to Jackson, are those 2 parcels of land, it looks like are those already owned by the cities?
Correct.
And are they in Oshkosh already, or should we be annexing those as well?
I believe they're in the city, but I will have to verify. There is some additional right-of-way work and stuff that we're doing to be able to make the road go through. You'll actually probably see more on this Furno extension at future meetings as the rest of the necessary pieces will be ready.
Okay, any other questions, technical questions? Okay, I'm going to open this up to public hearing, request a statement from the applicant. We have the applicants here. Please approach the podium and state your name and address for the records, please.
I'm Dean Schultz with Excel Engineering, and we're in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. And I guess, are you looking for a presentation, or are you looking for just, I'm here to answer questions. I also have Brad Dunn, who is the head of schools with Valley Christian, is here as well, if there were any questions that need to be answered.
Thank you.
Sure.
Are there any members of the public that would wish to make a statement? If so, please approach the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
Craig Simon, 3185 Jackson Street. Is there a site plan of where they're planning on putting a road? How are their water needs going to affect the property and the runoff? Is there going to be runoff from their property? Seeing that most of the land between the buildings and that back property line are pretty close to wetlands. So has there been some research there as far as how you're going to handle that? I mean, are you going to increase the level of flooding and usefulness of my backyard?
By ordinance, they will have to maintain all stormwater on their own site. They cannot discharge stormwater onto the adjoining property. So once development takes place, it should actually improve any water that's currently is the farmland running off of it. As soon as it goes to be developed by the school, they now have to withhold all of their own water and discharge it into the storm sewer system.
Okay. And have they put any sort of plans as far as what they're going to be putting there?
We have not seen any plans yet for the school
Seeing
itself.
that most of the people in that area actually hunt in that section.
So,
Where's the town of Oshkosh, so it is a legal area to gun hunt.
yeah, as of right now, we have not seen any plans for the actual school development. This would be the first step, is trying to bring it into the city.
Are they going to be very squirrely when people are shooting towards their football field?
I would defer that to the Valley Christian representatives.
Okay. So they're responsible to their runoff, and I guess that was my biggest concern, but, so.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public?
Teresa Damo, 3243 Vinland Street. I actually own the house directly across from where this proposed school is going to be, hoping to be built. I guess, I mean, obviously I know there's probably nothing I can do, but, you know, we enjoy that open area. There's lots of deer, lots of turkeys, things like that. My main concern is that it's going to increase traffic quite a bit on my road. It's going to be a pain to get in and out of my driveway. Noise as well. We kind of chose that area because it was quiet. The other thing is I'm worried about being forced. We have a well and we have a septic, and I do not want to be forced to have to pay for city water and sewer. Do you know if that is going to be a situation?
So right now, if you're not in the city, that wouldn't be relevant. I know, Steve, do you have more on it? He could better answer.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm town of Oshkosh.
Yep.
It's until you're attached or annexed to the city, there would be no means for the city to force you to attach to that. So, in any means,
down the pipe?
I don't believe there's anything the city can do to force you in at this point.
The city does not do forceful annexation, so the only chance would be is if you at some point or properties choose to annex into the city.
Okay, and then my other question would be sidewalks. Obviously, when you're building a school, you want sidewalks, you know, to and from. Will sidewalks be put in, I mean, do we know that on both sides of the street?
Again, if sidewalks are put in, could only be done
On
on
the
the
school
city
side?
side. It cannot be
On the town
into the
side.
town side.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Anyone else in the public wish to make a statement? Okay, seeing none, I'm closing the public hearing. Would the applicant like to make a closing statement?
I guess the only thing that I guess I just want to address is, and I know that was brought up, we have done a wetland delineation of our property, and the wetlands have been, I'll say, delineated. We know where they're at, and we will be addressing, developing around, dealing with the DNR on that. So.
Thank you. Commission, the action is upon you.
I would make a motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I have a question about Ms. Damel's question about annexation and being, you know, forcible. And you mentioned that we can't force them. If neighbors wanted to, do you have to have 3/4 of a neighborhood or something, or what's the specifics around that?
So there are many different types of annexations. There's unanimous annexation as this one where all property owners are choosing to. There are area-wide annexations where a certain percentage of the properties could request to be brought in. We had one maybe about 2 years ago up towards the lake. There was a group of properties that were brought in. So really, each situation is a little bit different on when they would come forward. It would have to be evaluated and doesn't meet the statutory requirements.
Okay. And if there was, so a follow-up question, if there was a percentage one, if you were the no and 5 were yes, you all have to go? I mean,
Yeah, state statute outlines how that process would work. If there is a area-wide annexation, I think you need, I have to double check, I believe it's 51% of the area has to be making the request. Then ultimately it would be up to council to determine if they wanted to annex that area in or not. It is generally the city's policy to not do forceful annexation.
yeah, okay. So, thank you. I know it's high level, not contractual or anything, but thank you.
Okay, any other discussion?
Just, I guess, for the public's knowledge, anything that would, the developer wanted to put there would have to come back to the city staff, go through the plan commission, and be voted on at the council. So while this, if it gets voted on today, this is not saying that anything of any kind is being built there at this point in time.
Correct. If the annexation is completed, that's why the IPD zoning district is expected. That means any development would actually have to come back through this body, council, neighborhood meetings, for what the actual development plans are going to look like.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Eslinger,
Aye.
Mr. Ulrich,
Aye.
Ms. Praw,
Aye.
Ms. Shireman,
Aye.
Mr. Nichols,
Aye.
Mr. Bowman,
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, item number 3 is approval of design alteration review for facade modifications at 216 State Street. Kelsey Lally is the owner's representative, and RH Design Build LLC is the applicant. Has there been any site inspections? Okay. The staff report is accepted as part of the record. Please report your summary.
Thank you. The subject site consists of a 0.27 acre commercial property located on the east side of State Street, south of Wagoo Avenue. The property includes a vacant 2-story, 17,280 square foot commercial building. The property is currently zoned central mixed use, and the surrounding areas consist primarily of commercial uses. And the 2040 Comprehensive Land Use Plan recommends Center City for that central area. The applicant plans to convert the building to a first floor restaurant and also add hotel accommodations above that restaurant in the building immediately to the north as future phases. The proposed restaurant conversion will include the front facade, east facade, and south facade modifications. Plans for the west facade were approved by Plan Commission on January 2nd, 2024, and the applicant has submitted revised plans for design alteration review. The west facade previously approved renovations included the following: removing the existing metal panel and aggregate panel exterior to showcase the original brick exterior, adding storefront windows back into the spaces where windows were located previously, and the front entrance will also be modified for ADA accessibility. The proposed plans today include only minor changes to the west facade from the previously approved plan, including more decorative facade details and an awning. According to the applicant, those changes are intended to increase accessibility and improve the front elevation of the proposed restaurant. And the Department of Public Works has noted that anything that will protrude off the face of the building and will encroach into the right-of-way will need an encroachment agreement. The east facade proposed renovations will include removing existing brick infill and installation of new windows and replacement of existing windows. And then the south facade will remove the existing brick infill and install 10 new windows, as pictured there. Staff is supportive of the proposed building facade alterations updates, as the exposure of the original brick and added window areas will serve to enhance the appearance of the facades. The west facade will result in an exterior consisting of 100% Class 1 materials, which is an improvement from the existing facade, and the east and south facades will result in more windows to break up the blank brick facades. Staff recommends approval of the design alteration review for building facade modifications as proposed.
Thank you. Plan Commission, any technical questions for staff? Ms. Prop?
Back to that first slide, which had a photo, yeah, that, on the upper right. Is that historical or is that a Photoshop of what it's going to look like?
That's the historical photo of what was there.
And so is this purportedly going to be looking like that with the two awnings?
Yeah, they're actually, so kind of top right is historical. Top left is what it looked like before the current project took over.
Right.
Bottom left was what was originally approved by Plan Commission.
Okay.
And then bottom right is the current proposal. I think the applicant did a little more research, kind of iterated on what they previously got approved for, and I think they've really developed a facade that is even closer to the historical nature of it.
Marvelous. Marvelous, thank you.
My question is about the encroachment with the
The awning.
yeah, that's the encroachment piece?
Correct.
So the Department of Public Works is concerned about that, so,
Yeah, anything that building is essentially a 0-foot lot line, sits right up to the property line. Anything that extends over the public right of way, like the awning, or if there's any lattice work or anything that would happen to extend over, that needs an encroachment agreement with the city.
how tall is that? The awning?
I don't know if we actually have that specific information yet. I believe the minimum clearance is 8 feet, 8'6".
I don't recall what the code updated to.
There is
Okay,
a
that's
minimum
fine.
in the code that it has to be for safety.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So if we approve this, when does the encroachment agreement go into effect?
Yeah, we would likely have them start that immediately, just to
That
get it
comes
done.
back to us?
The encroachment agreement does not. That is directly between the city with Public Works and the
Okay.
applicant.
Okay. So it's like a heads up for us that if we approve this, then there'll have to be an encroachment agreement worked out.
Heads up for you, also making sure the applicant knows it's something that they're going to need to work on as well.
Okay. If you didn't agree to it, Public Works, you would approve this but note that,
If for some reason they couldn't get the encroachment agreement,
Right.
they would not be able to do the awning. They would have to modify their elevations further.
okay. I just want to make sure I know what I'm approving. Okay. Thank you.
We do those encroachment agreements they're nothing
Right.
unique. They're done all over
Yeah.
the city.
And kind of the same line of questions. The reasons to deny the encroachment agreement, is that because they cannot meet certain ordinances, or is it because Public Works doesn't like it?
No, if you meet the standards, you get the encroachment agreement.
Got it. Okay, any other technical questions? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to open up public comment and request a statement from the applicant. Is the applicant here? See some movement.
Hi, I'm Susan Hirschberg with RH Design Build. This is Kelsey.
Kelsey Lally with Amina Design and D&J. I'm also the owner's representative. So when we submitted this originally and got approval in January, we had no idea what was behind the metal and aggregate panels. Since then, we have removed the metal and aggregate panels and have found what you see in the top right, with the exception of some damage from the metal and aggregate panels. So our intention is to bring this back to original. This building here on the top right was built in 1913, and our owner absolutely fell in love with what he saw. So we want to do what we can to bring it back to life. We are, introducing some modern applications. Obviously, you see on the two lower large windows, there's leaded glass above the larger storefront opening. So we are going to introduce leaded glass, but between two panes of glass, so that we can keep the leaded glass integrity for longer than it typically lasts. The awning question, the height above the sidewalk would be 10'4". Thank you. You're welcome. And on the second floor is hotel rooms. So we're super excited about it, and we hope that you all take into consideration what we're trying to do when voting.
Thank you. Are there members of the public that wish to speak on this item? Any members of the public that wish to speak? Okay, seeing none. I'm closing the public comment period, and would the applicant like to make a closing statement? No? Okay. Commission, then the action is upon you. Go for it.
Oh, let me get my words up. I will make a motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, there was one.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. See, we have a motion and a second on the motion. Lost my place here, sorry. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Sorry, I'm new to this, so.
Yeah, just a comment, I guess. You know, when you get into this kind of work, I want to just say thank you to the ladies that came up, the owner. You know, when you do this stuff, it can get very expensive. And to step up to the plate and do this type of stuff, it gets very expensive. And so what they're doing here is just phenomenal. I mean, it's heads and tails. And to do that with that building there is just fantastic. So kudos to them.
I would agree with Paul and echo that statement. There are so many people in Oshkosh who really appreciate when historic architecture is preserved and maintained for future generations. So thank you for discovering this and running with it. I have a question for the presenter, if I may. Have you worked with the State Historic Preservation Office at all in order to register your property or get any historic documents that might aid in the design work?
You know, it's interesting we haven't because
Oh, could you come up to the podium? I'm
Come
sorry.
up to the podium.
Can't hear you on the TV audience.
We haven't because this building wasn't on the register. Now that we have opened the facade, we might consider it, but we don't have plans to right now.
Okay. Well, nice work on the wall.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Esslinger,
Aye.
Mr. Ulrich,
Aye.
Ms. Pratt,
Aye?
Ms. Shireman,
Aye.
Mr. Nichols,
Aye.
Mr. Bowen,
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, moving on to item number 4, specific implementation plan amendment for electronic message center at 2350 State Road 44. Mo Zanfrini is the owner, and Mid-State Sign Service LLC is the applicant. Have there been any site inspections? Okay, staff report is accepted as part of the record. Please report your summary.
Thank you. So the property is located on the north side of State Road 44, west of South Washburn Street. This is zoned business park district with a planned development overlay. It has an existing drive-through restaurant building on the site, and the property is located within the Universal Business Park, as shown in areas outlined in blue. In 2016, a planned development amendment was approved to allow a 25 square foot EMC, which is on the existing monument sign. The use of the site will remain the same, as it will still be a drive-through restaurant. This new restaurant will be called Foodies. Here's the existing sign on the left and a proposed sign on the right. So the applicant is proposing to remove the existing monument sign cabinet, including a 25 square foot EMC and a 22.36 square foot static sign cabinet above the EMC, and they have submitted plans for a new 38.6 square foot EMC to be placed on the existing monument sign base. The business park zoning district allows EMC signage of up to 100 square feet per lot. However, the universal business park covenants prohibit EMCs. The plan development amendment in 2016 limited the EMC to 25 square feet, and the applicant is now requesting approval of the increased EMC size to 38.6 square feet. In addition to a PD amendment, the applicant would need a variance to the universal business park covenants to allow the increased EMC size as they are prohibited. According to the applicant, the increased EMC area is needed to provide greater visibility for the new drive-through restaurant, which is Foodies. The applicant believes that the previous drive-through restaurants at the site, which were Taco John's and Pizza at 44, failed due to lack of visibility from the street. Staff has concerns with allowing additional EMC signage area, as the applicant already has the ability to utilize 25 square feet of EMC, while neighboring businesses along State 44 within the Universal Business Park are prohibited from installing an EMC. Staff also feels that a larger EMC at the subject site will be incompatible with the surrounding area, as only one nearby property along State Road 44 has an existing EMC, which is Verve Credit Union, and they have an EMC at 11.65 square feet, which is actually smaller than the existing EMC on the subject site. So staff feels that the proposed larger EMC would be of a higher intensity than signage in the surrounding area. So with that, staff recommends denial of the SIP amendment as proposed. If approved, staff recommends a condition that a variance from the Universal Business Park covenants is required for EMC sign area to be reviewed and approved by GoEDC.
Just to follow up on that very last statement, this is one of those situations where it's not only the city's decision. Even if council ultimately would approve the base standard or the plan development request, without that variance from the Industrial Review Committee, the sign could not be installed. That is because those covenants restrictions are in place.
Okay, Plan Commission, any technical questions? All went up at once, so Mr. Nichols, we'll go around.
I have two. Just procedurally, is typically that variance requested before or after this would come to Plan Commission?
So we see them both ways. Sometimes they want to know if the city's going to approve it first before they go to the Industrial Review Committee. Sometimes we've seen them go to the Industrial Review Committee to get their feeling first. Really, it's up to the applicant to kind of decide which process they want to do first.
Do you know if they asked for the variance yet?
I do not believe they have asked for the variance yet.
Okay. And then the second question is, I know they're talking about visibility from the road. Just math is not my thing. It looks like they're asking to build a smaller sign. Is that right?
The overall size of the sign, yes, I believe is smaller than the sign that is there today. It's just transitioning to more EMC.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
How did the Area 44, I'm going to call it, EMC sign get approved?
So it went through a PD and a variance previously for the one that's there. Like 2016, Brian?
A variance
Yes.
approved by GoEDC?
Correct. There was also a use variance granted from GoEDC for the original Taco John's. This type of a restaurant was never an allowed use within that business park, and prior to that original Taco John's going in, they were also granted a variance from a use standpoint to put the restaurant there.
So will this need a variance from the use standpoint?
No, because it's now been a restaurant since then.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So 2016 is when we determined what the size and EMC can be, right? So that's 8 years ago. Is that correct?
That is when it last went through, yes.
Okay. So is it time to update that? When I look at that sign, and everybody's got their thing, and I got a thing for signs. When I look at that, I don't go, oh my God, that's intrusive, and oh my God, all the neighbors are going to be worried about it. Like, I don't get that feeling. So I'm wondering, do we need to update?
The city is not the controller of the business park covenants. Those are
Right.
the property owners. So it'd be
Okay.
the business park membership that would
Well,
have
that's the second half of it, though.
would have to change that. The regulations, base zoning allows an EMC here. If there was no business park covenants, this would be allowed.
Okay.
It's the business covenants in this case that are more restrictive for that area than city code.
Okay, so so I get that. Isn't that the second part? So if we approve it, they also have to approve it.
Correct.
So what are we're approving a non-standard
We still have to prove because it's a planned development, any change from what was previously approved. So the reason it's before this body is the change from the prior PD approval.
Okay. So, final question. So a yes vote is, I'm in support of it, or is this one of those backwards ones?
We can talk through when the vote is ready.
Okay.
Sometimes it's easier to make the motion in the affirmative, so yes means yes and no means no.
Okay, we can wait. I just want to, it seems like a backwards one, and I want to make sure. Okay.
Okay, any other?
Yeah, I think, from a council member standpoint here, I think there's some, Meredith made a great point, this is something that needs to be reviewed, and I'm unsure their own restrictions if they're going to go through with that first before it goes to the council. So as a council member, I think there's still unanswered questions that I'm not getting today, and I don't think they can be answered today. So I'm just going to be voting present on it.
Okay, any other technical questions for staff?
Just, if instead of approving or not approving, is it an option to table it and ask them to receive the variance request first before we move forward?
Most definitely. Follow up on that. The whole project will actually be coming back. This portion of the project was filed by the sign company. Just last week, we received a set of plans from the architect on the site for the rest of the site improvements that need to take place from a plan development standpoint. So even if you tabled it, we could bring it back with the rest of the package. I don't know if there's a miscommunication between the parties involved from the consultant, but one piece got filed, and then just last week the other piece got filed.
Okay, so any other technical questions for staff? Seeing none, I'm going to open public comment and request a statement from the applicant. Is the applicant present? Yeah. Okay, please approach the podium and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Greg Jens, and my address is 1414 Monroe Street, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And my client, the owner of the restaurant, again says there's been failed businesses in there. We're trying to streamline the sign, make it something that's more communicable to the target audience, being the people driving down Highway 44. The sign is 30 feet off the road. And basically, the sign that's there, I don't know, it was put up in 2016, but it's obsolete. To keep the sign there, it's got a border around it, so I don't know exactly how the 25-foot measurement would be, but the proposed sign does not have a border on it, and therefore it's measured a little differently. So if the client buys a sign from me, according to the rules that are set there in place right now, it would have to be 22.15 square feet, or it would exceed the next larger version, because they only make them in some certain size increments. The next larger version would be over the 25 square feet by 1.5 square feet. So that's one of the problems he's got there. The second problem is, so the council, or the planning commission is saying that that this sign is more intense. The sign is not any more intense. The pixels of the sign, again, signs are ever evolving, just like artificial intelligence is evolving. We all got to understand that and live our lives accordingly. But the sign is no more intense than the Verve sign or the Arena sign, and the Arena sign is across the street from residential neighborhood. We're talking about in an industrial park, and we're talking about, instead of communicating two separate messages at once, they're going to see one single message. And this this orientation is becoming more and more popular. You don't see, you see very few billboards along the expressway where there's two billboards next to each other. the new ones where they're putting the EMCs up, they're one solid, one message. And you have rules in place for the amount of time and the intensity of the message. So the new sign, it'll turn down to 5% power at night. And so, and still convey a beautiful message to the customer. Finally, we would like to say, what public service does this? The question here is, what public service is served by restricting it from 25 square feet down to 38, or up to 38 square feet, when we're reducing the entire size and it's not going to be as congested as having two signs in place of one sign. I think that's it. Anybody got any other questions from a sign industry? All right, thank you.
Okay, are there any other members of the public that wish to speak on this item? Any other members of the public wish to speak? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment period, and would the applicant like to make a final statement? No. Okay. Commission, the action is upon you.
Mark, can we
First.
decide how we're going to
Yep.
do the vote? Or do we just want discussion first?
Well, you need something to discuss first. So we have to have some type of motion on the floor for discussion unless
Best
it's,
to use the,
so we can do a procedural discussion first, which is how to make the motion. Typically, it's easiest to have a motion of yes means approve, no means denial. So I would recommend whoever makes the motion make it in the affirmative. That way we know yes means yes and no means no.
okay, then I'm going to make a motion to approve the recommendations as stated in the staff.
Don't do that because we recommend denial. So just say recommend.
I know, but you wanted a positive,
Yes, so just say
Motion.
recommend approval as submitted.
okay.
Sorry, we're
Okay,
playing nuance
recommend
now.
Approval as submitted.
Which is a no.
No, as submitted by
Which is
the
a yes.
applicant. So yes would mean yes,
Oh,
no would mean no.
So the
So that's
motion
my
is to-
motion.
yes,
Motion is
second.
to approve the request.
To approve the
To approve
request.
the
as
request.
submitted
Okay,
by the
So I'll second.
now
applicant.
discussion.
Give a second. Sorry. Yes. And then we have.
I'm going to, and I don't, procedurally, I don't know how we do this, but I'm going to make a motion to table this. It doesn't make any sense to vote on this as a standalone item. This is an SIP. There's usually in SIP situations significantly more factors that go into something like this. I could be convinced to vote for this if there are other mitigating factors. I could be convinced that this isn't necessary the way that it is because, I mean, if I'm going to go back to 2014 and channel our old friend David Borsick, I can tell you that this shouldn't have been here to begin with. But, you know, that's why it failed, not because of signage. So there's a lot of mitigating factors here, and it doesn't make any sense to vote on this as a standalone item. So I don't know procedurally how I do that. We have a motion on the table, I don't know if I can.
Well, right now, let's just have discussion.
So that's where I would like to table this item. I think it's responsible for us to table this item instead of voting on it as a standalone.
Okay, so we have more comments?
Yeah, I agree with tabling this, and so we can talk about procedurally if someone removes their motion or removes their second. But for the same reasons, and I think that we probably need to establish rules for if a variance is requested from a third party before it comes to the city, how we can require that. I don't know if we would change that as an ordinance or change it as a rules of the planning department, but we should discuss how to do that, just so that our order of operations is correct. So yeah, for that reason, I and Mr. Bowens, I agree we table this until it comes back.
Mr. Rob?
Yeah, and my feelings are that the sign representative made some very good points. And this feels like the cart before the horse. I would rather hear from the business park folks that it's okay, that they would give a variance on the covenant.
That has to go EDC before it comes.
Yeah. I mean, that's my preference. And they would say, well, okay, planning commission, you do what you need to do, but it's, you know, we either have voted for a variance or we would vote for a variance. and then that would help me make a decision. So
Yeah.
I'll go with the tabling idea if that's a.
We had reached out to Go EDC about this. We have not heard back from them, so we'll reach out again and see if they have had a chance to try to get it scheduled for that industrial review committee.
Yeah, but that's not gonna help us today.
Right. Ms. Shire?
Do you know why it was brought, like, so when they came to you last week and they brought this, did you say, hey, generally we do this as one?
We asked if they wanted to table it and bring them as a single request. The information we got back was no, they wanted to move this one forward tonight and then follow up with the remainders in May. As soon as we saw the second request, we asked them the same thing. What's the disconnect? We would rather move this as a single project forward. They chose to move this forward today.
Didn't say why. I mean, there's not, I feel like if there was a reason, maybe it makes sense. Long lead time, like, I don't know. I have no idea.
And it came from two separate applicants. One, the sign company representing this portion, and the architectural design firm representing the other portion.
Yeah, then they should be together. Okay. I could be persuaded if there was a reason, if we understood why. Like I said, long lead time or, I don't know, supply chain or something. But without seeing it all, I would be okay at tabling as well.
Okay, so we have Mr. Esslinger?
Yeah, I think Mr. Bowen laid it out quite well. I think it would be appropriate to lay this over. The only question I have is that okay with the sign? Are they in a time crunch or?
You can ask them.
Because if they say, we got to get going on this, then we got to make a decision.
Yeah. I think that's a valid question if you want to ask the sign contractor. Ultimately, do they want to order things without their approved variance from Go EDC as well? So, if you want it, you can.
So let's have that question answered first, and then we'll move forward. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they won't build the sign. We can't have the sign built. The sign has been paid for whatever reason. They wrote the check last year to get the contract signed and get going on the signs in order to have everything ready in place for when they open. So we need to get a decision on this as soon as possible because they won't start to configure the sign until we have a permit in hand. So that's why he requested that I come forward today. We had the meeting already set. We've been planning, we submitted the original application for the permit already, I think, at the very beginning of the year. And so we would like to keep moving on the sign portion of it and have that built and ready to go in place.
Do you have the variance from the business park?
No.
Has there been like conversations with business? Because I think that's the gating item too, right?
So that was the owner's deal. I don't know who he's talked to on that. He has not instructed me to go that direction, but I will move forward on that ASAP as soon as I talk to him about it.
So to clarify, if we vote to approve the sign here today, it still would have to go through the variance at Go EDC. We're just one step in your path.
Correct. And like the gentleman over here said, that sometimes we come here first or go there first, and so we would try to move forward today.
Thank you. Do we know when the next step is on the schedule at all yet?
No, I have not seen anything from the Industrial Review Committee of if it's even been scheduled for a meeting again. That's where I said we'll follow up again with Go EDC to see if
their next phase though.
Right now it's May 21st.
Okay.
So we literally got it in like last Thursday.
So what you're saying though, I don't know why we have to wait for their vote. I mean, it's, if we approve or disapprove, they're gonna, I mean, if we approve it, they still have to approve it. If we don't, if we wait for that, it goes in front of them May 21st, then it comes back to us.
May 21st is when this project comes back to this board for the rest of the site improvements.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could table it to the next meeting, correct?
Correct. I mean, I would, the Industrial Review Committee does typically not meet that often. They meet on a as-needed basis.
Right.
I would be hard-pressed to tell you if you table it 2 weeks, that body would meet within the next 2 weeks. They very well may, but usually it takes longer to get that group together.
Okay, so currently we have a motion on the table to accept the applicant's sign proposal. And we had some discussion on tabling that motion. I guess if the next step would be if we were looking at tabling that, we'd have to have the motion withdrawn. And who made that motion?
No, we can get an amendment, can we?
Or do we amend it, or do we withdraw the original?
Or this takes precedence over it?
No, you would have to withdraw the motion on the floor and have a new motion made to table. So we either have to vote on the motion on the floor, or you would have to withdraw your motion.
I think you withdraw.
Okay, then I will withdraw the motion.
Okay.
So now we need a new motion.
And
Well, the person that seconded that needs to remove that
Yes,
also.
sorry. Who seconded it?
So procedurally, what if I mean, just go
Then it
along with
stays.
If you say no, it stays on the floor, and then we vote on the motion as is.
And then if they vote no to it, can someone bring it back and revise it to table it then?
No, that would be the
Okay.
official action of the board.
Okay, I will agree, second the withdrawal.
Okay, so now we no longer have a motion on the table.
I will make a motion to table this SIP request until I will make a motion to table this until we have the full SIP package submittal.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion?
Well, discussion. Meanwhile, staff will follow up with, can't the business park folks get their act in quick here and decide?
Yeah, we'll see if we can push for them to have that completed. It should be able to be done prior to the May
Yeah, it should
21st
be.
meeting.
Yes, thank you.
So just to clarify what I'm going to do here, make the mud even dirtier. I was going to vote present because we were voting for or against the proposal. We're not doing that anymore. We're just allowing more time, which, as Ed pointed out, I think is appropriate. So, I think that with that time, we can only do what we can do here. And clearly, I think this needs more time and more clarification. So I think that's appropriate.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, can we have a roll call vote on tabling this application until May 21st meeting?
Councilmember Esslinger.
Aye.
Mr. Ulrich.
Aye.
Ms. Prop.
Aye.
Ms. Shireman.
Aye.
Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Mr. Bowen.
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0 to table until May 21st.
Okay, let's move on to item number 5, and this is a public hearing. Zone change from institutional district to institutional district with a plan development overlay and approval of a general development plan and a specific implementation plan for outdoor and indoor storage areas at 4311 Jackson Street. Winnebago County is the owner and the applicant. Has there been any site inspections? Okay, the staff report is accepted as part of the record. Please report your summary.
Thank you. So the site is a 94-acre property located at the southwest corner of County Road Y and Jackson Street. It includes the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, County Highway Department facility, and waste recycling transfer station. The applicant is requesting a zone change from the existing institutional districts to institutional district with a plan development overlay, and that is intended to allow for flexibility in the zoning ordinance to accommodate a new use in the property, and staff is supportive of the rezone as it will allow for necessary county government uses on the site. The applicant is proposing to construct a 20,000 square foot outdoor evidence storage area to the north of the sheriff's building site, as well as a 5,400 square foot evidence storage building adjacent to it, and that will include a morgue. They are requesting a BSM to allow the outdoor storage use, as outdoor storage uses are not permitted in the institutional zoning district, Staff is supportive of a BSM to allow the proposed outdoor evidence storage area as it is needed for use by the county sheriff's department. It is also compatible with the surrounding institutional land uses. The outdoor storage area and building will exceed setback requirements for the institutional district. The outdoor storage area will be surrounded by fencing. The fence height will need to be increased to 8 feet and must include pre-woven or interwoven privacy slats and be at least 90% opaque to meet solid fencing requirements. A BSM is required for the 8-foot tall solid fencing, as fencing within the institutional zoning district is limited to a maximum of 6-foot height. Staff is supportive of a BSM for the increased fence height as it is needed to sufficiently screen the evidence storage area. Here's the landscape plan. It does show some arborvitaes along the outdoor storage area and some shrubs along the indoor evidence storage area. The applicant will need to revise their plan to provide additional building foundation landscaping points to meet the code requirements for building foundation landscaping. The applicant will also need to provide additional yard landscaping points to meet the code requirement for outdoor storage and indoor storage combined. Staff is also recommending the applicant provide an additional 127 yard landscaping points beyond the code requirement to offset the BSM requests for outdoor storage and increased fence height. Here are the proposed building facades. Exterior design standards do not apply to institutional land uses under the zoning ordinance. However, exterior design is subject to public building review, as well as review for the plan development request. So the storage building will consist of primarily brick exterior, and staff is supportive of the proposed building elevations as they are primarily a Class 1 material, and staff is supportive of the facades as proposed as they are appropriate for a storage building. So with that, staff recommends approval of the rezone and GDP and SIP with the findings and conditions in your staff report.
Just one more comment on the landscaping. There's a chance they're going to be fine. They haven't given us quite enough information on the existing landscaping on the site to see if they're already actually over and can handle what's there. So although we put in the staff report for you what is necessary, we'll continue to work with them and get a little bit of information on some of the species of trees and sizes that are already out there. And they may end up actually having enough. But we wanted to make sure it was in the staff report. So if it's not, we get it added. But hopefully we can work with them and get it all straightened out. We didn't want to delay the project while we have that time to kind of go through the landscaping that's there today.
Okay. Any technical questions from Ms. Prop?
Is that a road going out left?
Correct.
And that connects up with the
is that the county
the
garage? Is that the
solid waste building? There's a recycling.
Yeah, the recycling facility. Correct. So it connects to that facility.
Okay, so then the building is going to be located exactly where you have that subject site arrow pointing.
Yep. Yes. So you can see this existing parking here.
Existing parking, okay.
And then that's
all right, thank you.
right there.
Any other technical questions? I got one question. So that is the outside storage area, is that going to be gravel or what is the? But I guess my question is, is the impervious surface going to increase quite a bit with the building and the outdoor storage, and are there stormwater?
Yep, they'll have to get all their stormwater management stuff finalized and approved by Public Works. I believe it is gravel. Mike can probably.
I think it's asphalt.
Is it asphalt?
Yeah.
Either way, they'll have to, whether it was gravel or asphalt, both are considered impervious surface and need to be handled under the stormwater management.
Okay. And is the brick on the new building, is that similar to the existing building?
Mike's shaking his head. We'll let him explain when he comes up.
Okay, I'll table that until then. Any other technical questions? Seeing none, I'm going to open the public hearing, request a statement from the applicant. Is the applicant here?
Good evening. Mike Elder, I'm the Director of Facilities for Winnebago County. And we're asking for your favorable review of our request. Our needs have outgrown. We've been using rented and whatever free space we could find. So we're trying to consolidate both the needs of our medical examiner and our sheriff in one central area for us. To answer your questions, we are accepting of the conditions that are being put on this. We will definitely do whatever we have to do with landscaping and stormwater to work with them. The brick is going to be as close a match to the existing building as it can be. It's a natural product, so every lot is a different color. So the idea is to match it as best as we can. And then somebody asked a question about the driveway going to the north. That would be connecting to our transfer station, and that would only be used intermittently if we had, you know, a couple of years ago we had the wreck on 41 with a semi. That needs a lot of room to get something in there when you're towing it in there, so that would only be used intermittently.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant? Always here. Okay, thank you. Are there other members of the public that wish to speak on this item? Any members of the public that wish to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing, and would the applicant like to make a final statement? Okay, so then the action is upon you, Commissioner.
Motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, please have a roll call vote.
Councilmember Esslinger?
Aye.
Mr. Ulrich?
Aye.
Ms. Prop?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Bowman?
Aye.
Vice Chair Kiefer.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, moving on to item number 6, approve land acquisition of 929 Winnebago Avenue, Washington Elementary School. Oshkosh Area School District is the owner, and the City of Oshkosh Community Development is the applicant. Have there been any site inspections? Okay, staff report has been accepted as part of the record, and
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So back in 2020, the school had done a referendum that led to the current consolidation plan that the school district is undergoing. Part of that was the new Val Phillips Middle School, the new Menominee Elementary School that are being constructed. As part of that same plan was the discontinuation of Washington School as an elementary school. The city was involved in a number of neighborhood meetings that the school district held with the 3 surrounding neighborhood associations and residents of the area, trying to figure out, okay, what are some potential reuses or redevelopment from this school? That ultimately led to the school district putting out a request for proposal in late 2023. The school district ultimately got no proposals in for reuse of that site, and overwhelmingly heard from developers the style of structure was not well suited for redevelopment. It wasn't one of those buildings like Smith School or stuff that could be converted into apartments or another use. So the city decided, along with some conversations with Habitat for Humanity, to see if there was a potential here to do infill residential housing. And ultimately, that is what we are bringing forward to you today, is a request from the city to purchase Washington School, and then do a infill single-family owner-occupied residential subdivision in conjunction with Habitat for Humanity. The city would acquire the property, demolish the school, hopefully, if everything would work out, beginning in 2025, begin site preparation of getting the infrastructure ready, laterals put into the lots, stormwater management, grading and stuff done, with the goal of, like I said, putting in roughly 18 brand-new owner-occupied single-family homes. I know there's been some questions because we said workforce housing, and a lot of people wonder, what does workforce housing mean? Workforce housing is generally described as housing that is targeting a county median income level of 80 to 120%. So we're looking at housing for that fits in the neighborhood. The everyday citizen can afford to build a house there. Houses could range, given current construction costs, probably 250 to literally almost 350,000. So these are, modest homes that fit the neighborhood. This is not, low-income housing or anything like that. This is housing that is trying to be built that is owner-occupied, single-family homes that kind of fit the character of the area. As many of you know, the city is currently doing a housing design book, where we've hired a consultant to come into the city, look at our housing stock, and help design homes that fit our infill neighborhoods. The goal here is, hopefully if Washington School moves forward, is to use that design book to come up with styles that fit the neighborhood. So that's kind of, we wanted to show you this chart because that 80 to 120, and then kind of what the homes are in the 80 to 120 range. As it is a partnership with Habitat, Habitat would be doing about half the lots, so they'd be looking probably at more that 200,000, 250,000 range, kind of the market they build in. The city would then have the other lots, and would do an RFP for a master builder to come in and build, probably looking at more of that 100 to 120 range. So like I said, the goal here is to take the school down and put new owner-occupied single-family housing in. With that, we're asking for your approval to kind of move this forward. Obviously, would have to get approved, the purchase get approved by council, school district, Habitat board, a lot of moving parts to see if this can be done.
Okay, Plan Commission, any technical questions for staff? Mr. Nichols?
Is there a reason that we're not doing rezoning at the same time we're approving purchase?
So we're going to have to do a comp plan amendment, and the school district kind of, once they heard we were interested, wanted us to move pretty quickly because they would like to get the sale part figured out first. So really, it's in response to the time frame the school district asked us to move forward with a proposal to them.
Understood.
Our anticipation would be, if this is approved here in spring, summer, it'll be a comp plan amendment and a zone change.
Got it. Thank you.
Ms. Proud?
Well, I think this is utterly exciting. A real public-private partnership. So the Habitat portion, however many lots that would end up being, would be Habitat homes?
Yep.
Okay. And then the city portion, you said would be maybe taking on the higher level, more expensive slightly. And I don't understand how we would pay for that.
Yep, so a couple of factors on money that could potentially go into this project. Now, a lot of that still has to be figured out. This is moving really quickly compared to, I think, what we expected, but, we're trying to address it the best we can. So first, I want to talk about mix. The goal is about 9 and 9 lots for Habitat, 9 for the city, and they would be mixed up through it. It wouldn't be, these are Habitats and these are the cities. We want to mix them, we want to match the cohesiveness of the neighborhood as much as possible. In terms of, we wouldn't be building the houses, we would be using a builder to do that. But there are some opportunities here to use things like block grant funding for the demolition remediation of the school site. So there's some resources the city can bring in. Habitat, with some of the projects they've done and some of the grant funding they have gotten, also have money to put in for site development. So it's kind of a unique partnership between the city and Habitat, bringing some pools of money that we have to see if we can make this thing work. But then ultimately, the homes would be for sale as normal, owner-occupied residential homes.
Yeah, but somebody has to pay for building the homes.
Correct. Yep, and that would be
on city side. I'm not worried about the Habitat side.
Correct. The lots would be sold to a master builder, who would then be going out to the open market and finding individuals.
Oh, okay.
Likely will be some deed restrictions or some mechanisms put in place to make sure that affordability is maintained, because one of our concerns and our goals as the city is to make sure it is that workforce housing, that we're building, $300,000 homes that are appropriate for the neighborhood. And if the city is investing money, we want to see what mechanisms are out there to make sure that affordability and that is passed on to the owner, not necessarily a builder. So we want to make sure we build housing appropriate for the neighborhood.
Yeah. And follow-up question, the concept plan shows a variety of site plans.
Yeah.
And house design.
Yep.
And so that's exactly what you're thinking about in terms of your...
Yeah, these footprints you see in here are purely for depiction only of saying, how could it develop? We're hoping to use the housing design book that we're presently working on. We had the kickoff meeting with the consultant last week to develop 2-story, single story and a half designs, and then integrate those in when we hire a master builder to build those designs in this neighborhood.
Yeah,
as well as work with Habitat to build some of those.
It wouldn't be 18 rubber stamp?
Nope.
house plans.
Nope. The goal here is to, as I said, match that neighborhood, mix it up, have it as cohesive as we can within the surrounding neighborhood.
Yeah, okay. That's absolutely exciting.
So would we require the Habitat to kind of use those same design standards or the book that talks
So Habitat, it's a little, we're trying to work with Habitat. They can't build two-story homes very well because they have some insurance liability issues with putting some of their volunteers on a second story or a two-story roof. So we're trying to work with them on maybe some higher pitched one-stories that still match the neighborhood. When you go out there, there are some higher pitched, so almost look like story and a half homes, even though they're ranches. So if we could work with them to build some of those, maybe we build some of the two stories to match.
Is the 50-50 split for sure? I mean, that's the intention, or that's what we're doing?
That is our plan moving forward, given the funding sources that both are trying to bring to the table. We're trying to do this as a partnership.
And the master builder, the intention is to have a single builder?
For the city
For the
side,
nine,
the
for
thought
the-
is to RFP it and get it out there. That way we can
To
help.
get all 9?
Yep.
Okay.
Now, I said those pieces of it have a lot to work through yet.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Kind of, this first step is, does the city purchase it and kind of try to look at how we push this forward.
So I have one other question. So you say purchase this. What's the public-private, public participation by the school district? Are they, they're giving up a school that they don't want to use anymore. Are we paying them for that school?
The proposal to the school district is for $75,000 to buy the school.
There's no discussion on it just giving it to the city and the city pays for the demolition.
So it's actually Habitat funds being used. Habitat is providing the $75,000 for the purchase.
So there's nothing for us to negotiate with the school because the Habitat has already...
We definitely can. That was the discussions, kind of as the parties, that is the current proposal is for $75,000.
I'm a negotiator by trade, and I'm sort of thinking they sent it out for RFP. Nobody responded. This is an incredible opportunity. It's hard to even consider walking away from something like that.
The direction council had originally given staff was 0 to 150.
Oh, well then. Okay.
Right now, the request is in the middle.
Yeah.
So maybe before we're kind of getting into our statements, getting back to technical questions, so maybe I started that, sorry.
Come on up, Ken.
Go ahead.
Our Citizen Community Development Director.
So, Plan Commission Member Prob, I just wanted to mention in partial answer to your question about attracting developers, are they going to be cookie cutter? What is this design book going to bring to the equation? And that is, in addition to the facades for the 1.5, 2-story homes, that some 1/4-inch scale blueprints will be available. So we did bring in last week a couple of infill developers and went out and looked at properties with the new design crew that is going to be producing these documents. And they're also going to be working with our inspections division to make sure that UDC codes are met, and they're going to produce scalable blueprints. And got the developers to say, yes, this is where some of the savings comes in. We're not having to generate a blueprint for every one of these properties. We can modify them, we can change the porches, the entrances, the things that Mark talked about. But there is going to be some savings to them by having the lots shovel-ready as well as the blueprints.
The one of the benefits of this, the city does partner in doing this project, is as controlling the site, we can make sure we get a nice mix of housing. We're not just going to turn it over and then they build the same 2-story 8 times. We'll be able to be more involved in those design decisions and trying to make sure we match the neighborhood.
One of the other quick things that I'll mention about Habitat, or about the 1-story homes in particular, because Habitat can speak for themselves, but by increasing the profile on the front, a higher window can look from the street like a story and a half or a Cape Cod looking type house, but it actually may be just a window and a higher vaulted ceiling in a living room. But it just creates a profile that may be more neighborhood appropriate than some of the older designs of that organization.
Yeah, we really challenged this group doing the design book to mirror neighborhood design and cost. Other communities have done these similar design books, and they've got really great looking products out of it that were not reasonable to be built in the areas they were intended. So we have really challenged our consultant with saying, it doesn't matter how great you make these things look if it's going to cost $500,000 to build a home in a neighborhood that's $200,000 homes. That doesn't work. We need designs that are cost effective and appropriate for our neighborhoods.
Oh, exactly. Yep. But that can happen without being cookie cutter.
Yep, exactly. There's still a lot of design ability in there.
Okay, any other technical questions? Not seeing any. I am going to open up the public comment. Are there members? Actually, there is, I think, since we're the applicant, the city's the applicant.
Yep.
We make a statement, so we'll move on to the public members. Is there anyone from the public like to make a statement? Sir, go ahead.
Excuse me. Ron Hanchey, coordinator for the Stevens Park Neighborhood Association. We've been working on this project for 4 or 5 years now, and we've held a major meeting with all 3 of the neighborhoods. And the major recommendation out of it was single-family homes. But in the staff report, it does not mention the zoning. The zoning would have to be S9, correct?
Yeah, we will end up zoning it the same as the neighborhood.
But will that happen, or will it be zoned something else?
No, if this project moves forward, I don't want to, there's still a lot to see if it moves forward. If it moves forward, it'll be a comp plan to low-density residential and a zone change to the same as the neighborhood.
Okay. Presently, S9 allows duplexes, and it allows what they term
2 flats.
The duplexes and another term.
Yep, 2 flats, twin houses.
Will that be eliminated from this zoning?
The city, as being the controlling party, our plan is single-family owner-occupied homes. We can't remove something that's in the zoning district.
Okay.
Our plan is owner-occupied, single-family homes.
Can Stevens Park be assured that that's what will happen?
So I can only, ultimately, this group and council are going to be heavily weighing in on this, but I think everyone is on the same page here. We want 18 owner-occupied, single-family homes.
Okay, because presently, there are a couple of Habitat residences in Stevens Park neighborhood, and they're all basically the same. And one is across from this project, one is on the other end of the street, and one is on Harney. So we have been living with them and gotten in contact with Habitat. Habitat has, where they are building them and using sweat equity or whatever you want to call it, they have to take better care of their facilities. The second point is they would have to have garages, because the Habitats presently do not have garages, and it tends to distract from the neighbor next door from each one of them.
Yeah, Habitat now builds garages as part of their houses. They didn't when these are done.
When they started out and they did the 3 in Stevens Park, they did not. Presently, on the terrace of this property, a group of individuals planted trees on both sides in the terrace, and we'd like to, and they're only maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, and we'd like to keep them and make sure that they stay. Can we guarantee that?
We can't, as driveways have to get put in. Some of them will have to be removed. However, the city's subdivision regulations now require street plantings and terrace trees. So if they have to be removed as part of the new homes going in, they'll have to have new terrace plantings put in.
Okay. We just wanted to make sure that would happen on that property. Now, the streets probably will have to get torn up on the side of School Street and Winnebago Street. Will the city replace the street from one property line to the other? Because that's going to tear up the street tremendously. Every 30 to 40 feet, you're going to cut a half a section of the street out, and it has to be replaced. But can it be replaced all at one time?
I don't have an answer for that yet. Again, we aren't to that point of figuring out the final design, but you're right, all new laterals will have to be put in, which will require cutting into the street.
Yeah, every 60 feet roughly.
Yep. That is all information that will have to be figured out and designed and engineered.
Okay, the final question that we have is, will SPNA have the opportunity to serve along with the city and Habitat in the review of the proposals that come out?
In terms of the housing design book?
Well, the housing design book and the total operation of the project.
We'll definitely share all the information we can with the neighborhood association. We'd actually like to not only be Stevens Park, but Menominee South and
well, this is
what's
in
the other
Stevens
one?
Park.
Yeah, we actually want to get feedback from all of you. The goal is to be a community infill project.
We've had very poor cooperation with the school board.
Yep, this is the city now trying to
Okay.
to do this project.
And we appreciate the opportunity that you sent us information about it. Because typically the school board did not cooperate at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public that wishes to speak?
I'm Jerry Heisler. I live at 1010 Winnebago Avenue, so I'm right in the middle of this mess. My main concern is in the process of the destruction and so forth that's going to happen, you're going to be running a lot of heavy trucks in and out of there taking the stuff out. You're going to probably end up damaging the street because right now Winnebago is pretty much damage free. And so that's going to incur a bunch of costs. And then you also have the laterals and all that going in. Who's going to absorb the costs to put the street back to the way it was?
Yeah. Just like any project, if the street is damaged as part of the demo, the company and the city are going to be responsible for that as this is our project. So if
So the property owner and the city would be replacing the damage.
So the city in this case is the property owner. So
Okay.
we will be coordinating that project.
Okay, so you're not going to depend on the landowners on the opposite side of the street to pay for street
I'm going to
replacement.
look to Steve. Typically, Steve, if the road is damaged as part of a project, it is that project's responsibility to correct it.
That is correct, and in the event now with the new transportation fund for funding the assessments, we don't have assessments for repairing the roads anymore, so that issue of that is going to go away significantly for residents.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public who wishes to speak on this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, we don't need a final statement from the applicant. Commission, the action is upon you.
Motion to adopt the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the item?
Question that was brought up about S9. So I didn't realize that duplexes were part of S9. So if we send it out for proposal for a master for single family homes, for some reason it comes back with a developer saying, I can't make it work with single family homes. I want to do duplexes. It's allowable, but does it come back to?
As the city is the owner, again, we are going to be putting covenants and restrictions and deed
Okay.
restrictions on these to control what goes there. The city is getting involved in this project to make sure is it affordable.
Yeah.
If the investment by Habitat in the city to get these shovel-ready, essentially below market rate lots, that's how we're trying to
Look at
make
it,
sure
yeah.
these homes are affordable, is by driving down lot costs through public-private partnership, that that is, the cost of these homes is really all that's getting put onto the homeowners, not that typical lot development cost that
You're
would.
right. Okay, yep. Okay.
Any other comments? I'd like just to make a statement that, I think this is a great project and a great reuse of this space. I am a little disappointed that the school district could find it in its heart to not charge Habitat $75,000, which could be used in a lot of other ways by Habitat. They are saving a ton of money by not having to tear down this facility and remove it. So they're, I don't know, in my opinion, gouging this project by $75,000, which they don't need to do. It's not saving anybody any money. So anyhow, that's my point. I think it's a great. I know this has been going on for quite a while. I've heard a lot of comments outside of this commission, and I think this is a great reuse. And again, I applaud the city for trying to build houses that are similar to the other houses in this neighborhood. This is my old neighborhood when growing up, so it's kind of nice to see that being redone that way. So, thank you. Okay, seeing no more comments, we have a motion. We have a motion. Roll call, please. Then.
Councilmember Esslinger?
Aye.
Mr. Ulrich?
Aye.
Ms. Craw?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. Bowen?
He's gone.
He's gone, sorry. Vice Chair Kiefer?
Aye.
Motion carried 6-0.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye.